one of the Longines FEI Jumping Nations Cup final. The first of 3 days of competition. We're down to the third line riders. This is another superb round for Sarah Tyson. Look at that. That is absolutely brilliant. What a combination of athletes as they make it 2 clears for the Netherlands. Sergio Averimoye with Alamo, legend of the sport. These guys will be a legend here tonight if they pop over the last, which they have. They've got the one-time penalty. That's not going to bother them. What a superb round from Christian Almond. See you on Sunday, Germany. What a tremendous start to the 2021 Longines FEI Jumping Nations Cup final.
And a very warm welcome here to the Longines FEI Nations Cup final. That was competition yesterday. We're into day 2 of competition. Why is this different? Well, yesterday it was all about qualifying. 15 teams came forward. The top 8 go through to the final, which actually takes place tomorrow afternoon. But tonight is the Challenge Cup. So those remaining teams doing battle, and there's a lot on the line tonight as well. Not only winning this title, but also getting into that top division for the Longines FEI Nations Cup next year into 2022. We're looking forward to all of that already. It's been an up and down year of top competition, and we've seen some real highs here last night. And to go through it with me is Jessica Curtin, who's been jumping high throughout her career and of course has been a team rider for Ireland throughout. Jessica, last night was an absolutely fascinating night.
Unbelievable, Stephen. It was really thrilling, and I think the night belonged to, yet again I say, our course builder, Santiago Varela. He had the job to separate the teams. They go into both finals, both Challenge Cup tonight and into the final tomorrow. They go in 0. So yesterday, it wasn't about how many mistakes they made. It was just about separating, getting that top 8 into the final tomorrow. And Santiago Varela did a very good job in this, setting some really delicate courses and difficulties out there with the time.
Absolutely, which we're going to talk about in just a second. So let's remind you of what happens tonight. Tonight is the Challenge Cup. 5 teams go in this. It's Norway, France, Great Britain, Switzerland and Italy. 2 teams electing not to come forward after yesterday. That's Canada and Uzbekistan. So 5 of them doing battle. But like I say, there's a lot on the line for them as well, because there's our qualifying for Division 1 competition as next year's series of the Longines FEI Nations Cup. But here, 2021 comes to a conclusion. And Jessica, we're going to talk a little about what happened to the teams that finished top yesterday. And the team that finished top was Germany. Now, to clarify it for everybody watching, everybody goes, as you say, back to 0 in their respective rounds. Germany will be part of tomorrow's competition with the top 8, but we're going to reflect on how they handled that course here yesterday. And we're going to take a look at Daniel Deusser's round, because the world number 1 is the world number 1 for a reason. Now, Santi Varela, as you mentioned, set lots of really interesting little elements to this course as well, one of which was the time, and it was a tough one to get up there with them.
Most definitely, Stephen. We're going to look at the clip of Daniel, and he was in as number 2. He was the first starter for the German team, number 2 on the starting list. And of course, at this point of the course, a lot of riders will be watching. Chef de Keep's watching. Basically, is he riding the plan that I made? How is the time? Is the time tight? Is the time long? Now, when we watch this round in entirety here of Daniel, we see great harmony between him and his wonderful Killer Queen. They've just come off the back of winning the Grand Slam in Aachen. He is, as you said, number 1 in the world. And we really see the beauty of the harmony and horse. Lovely jump over the water. Now, they really don't look as if they're going fast. Obviously, Killer Queen, she's what we would call an economical jumper, but in saying that, that's in the best possible way that we say that. She doesn't waste time in the air. And you just see Daniel going around this course, sticking to his plan, sticking to the plan that, what do you say is the average plan when you walk? This was the average number of strides. Triple combination, see coming through here. This was a difficult line down to this plank. Spanish colours here, right towards the in-gate, very flimsy plank. And then there was a corner here, now the spin for home. And at this point, we're just going to go into slow motion to let everybody at home get a great look at this. The wonderful balance. Daniel moves up for that triple bar. She just gets a lovely elongated stride, and he takes 6 strides into this very delicate, tall double of verticals coming home. And 6 was the obvious option. Now we'll see that some took 7 and then move up on the 6 coming home. And this was putting Daniel inside the time allowed, but it looked so simple and so easy.
And that's the trouble when the world number 1 goes early, as you say. It was a little bit of a deception class in there, because actually he made it look easy. It wasn't as easy as that. We're going to have a look at Pier Giorgio Bucci. Brilliant rider, but finished with a time fault. Let's qualify that, because the top team, Germany, finished on 2 time in the end. So time faults were key. Spain finished on the 3 time, but here's Pier Giorgio.
Pier Giorgio, we see him coming to the last line with his lovely Niad de El Zadan, a horse with not so much experience. He jumps the triple bar and then he really sits back and says, I need to take 1 stride more here. This horse is very exuberant, as we will see over the jumps in the triple bar, and not so much experience. So Pier Giorgio really wants to set the horse up to have a lot of power on the hind legs to jump. And he does the same to the last jump, which many people did, takes the option of the 7 to make sure he has the power. And if you watch the clock in the bottom corner, there he is over the time allowed. And it was very obvious to see how they wasted seconds through the course, and how deceptive the extreme horsemanship of Daniel, the harmony between himself and Killer Queen. He simply keeps her between the leg and the hand and says, you just do your job.
And it put pressure on a lot of riders to be able to make that time, one of which was Henrik von Eckermann, as we take a look at him, because we see some of the moves that come with the world's very best of what they had to pull off to be able to make the time there, because here's Henrik.
Yeah, we just see him after the water jumps that vertical and spins back to the wall. And I have to say, King Edward jumped every bit as good as he did in his gold medal winning performance for the team in Tokyo. And look how Henrik is able to turn him on his haunches, keeps the hind legs underneath very tight to that very delicate wall. And most of riders took at least 1, possibly 2 strides more to that wall.
So let's qualify this again and say these are going to be some of the teams we're going to see tomorrow as part of that, as we pull apart last night's competition. Germany, Netherlands, Brazil, Sweden, Ireland, USA and Belgium all in there. And one big one that's in there is the home team, and that was Spain. And they finished on just the 3 time faults as well. They had a fantastic home night. And for them, one of the big players there again, as always, Eduardo Alvarez Aznar. We take a look at what he did. But again, the Spanish played it a little bit more carefully, accepted a few time faults, not quite what they wanted, but it was enough and it worked well.
I really loved the approach from the Spanish team. They were very, very impressive. Real teamwork, and you can see Eduardo here. He is taking into account he's going to get time faults, really setting Legend on the hocks. You can really see how the horse collects before the triple combination to have the power, and then really just keeping him together to jump this flimsy Spanish plank. There we really saw the plank very flimsy, and they took into account we can have time faults because we just have to get into the final, and I have to say, with bravura.
Absolutely, they did it brilliant. We're going to catch up with the Spanish chef to keep a little bit later on as well. And for the other teams coming into this, of course, Germany, we've talked about their brilliant run yesterday, but that is only part 1, because of course they go back to 0. We're reiterating that for tomorrow, so they all go and battle it out. Germany have been past winners of the title here. For them, they bring in riders like Andre Thiemer, who is the recent European champion, of course, that we watched in Riesenbeck. And as we take a look at Andre's round as well, he was certainly enjoying a good afternoon or evening of big competition.
Well, you know, I have to say, again, Chakari and Andre coming back, and I even dare to say jumping better than they did in Riesenbeck, if we can dare to say that. And he comes down here, trusts her beautifully on the plank. Now, at this moment, all the riders are skimming up to the left. Now, Andre jumps that plank, and you nearly have the feeling, he turns his head to, isn't she jumping beautiful? Am I not just having such a lovely feeling with Chakari today? And he takes absolutely the tourist route. I mean, he was nearly with us on the stands, and I thought, you know, what's he doing? But he came home just with the time fault, and that's fine.
And it was fine. It was fantastic.
That's fine, but she jumped amazing.
Absolutely. That's what he was about, getting the qualifying. They've got in there, they're qualified, they're safe and done. Germany are into Sunday. But again, we talked about there were a few little elements to this that made it a little bit harder. And one of those was actually the water jump. And everyone says, okay, yes, the water jump's hard. But one of the things that they don't do very often is jump a water jump under the lights like it is here. We can see behind us, we're set up for a big night competition again here in Barcelona. They don't jump it under the lights. So let's see how they handled it, because that's not quite as easy. Why is that not so easy?
Well, it's difficult jumping the lights under the water. Here we see Niels Brunsums with Deluxe van TNL, and you see there Willem Greve also. And now we're going to see Willem in slow motion, and you can just see that Carambola puts 1 foot in one side of the tape, 1 foot the other side. Now, last night it was difficult. As the evening got later, darker, there was more mistakes on the water, and they use a red tape. Very often they use a white tape, and on the sand they use sometimes yellow or red. And the red tape yesterday it just wasn't getting caught under the lights, and I really have the feeling as the night went on that some horses underestimated it. And it does have to be said, we didn't see this now in this clip, but it does have to be said that the combination before Santi built yet again something which he really likes to do. He brings you around the right turn or the left turn and then lets the horses land in the opposite direction to what you want to go. So the riders lose one to 1.5 meters. And that was vital on that distance to the water because the 7 was a little bit long and flat. And we actually saw many people taking an unplanned 8 strides to the water. And of course, all these things are costly, not only to the time, but also to the balance.
And one of the standout rides of the night as well went to the Netherlands. Of course, they're in as well. They were the 3rd best team last night. Sanne Thijssen, who is really making a name for herself. Let's take a look at Sanne's round here because, well, a little clip of it anyway, because she was absolutely top draw.
Here we see the combination. Sanne comes through and she just sits back and kicks on. And this is, for me, a very special partnership. They've come up the whole way. They got the first chance in Rotterdam. She's taken it with both hands. And this is, for me, riding. This is the sport. Sanne Thijssen, Con Kidam. It's like a little girl with her pony. She gives the horse so much trust. He's very, very careful. But Sanne gives him the scope, and that's for me what this sport is all about.
Well, we're going to focus on the teams that are in tonight as well in just a few moments' time, because we've got Norway, France, Great Britain, Switzerland and Italy in there as well. They're going to be battling for the Challenge Cup here tonight as well, all part of this Longines series. That's a really strong group for the Challenge Cup.
Yes, it's an extremely strong group. I mean, I think definitely the biggest surprise was the Swiss team, but we have to not forget that the Swiss team did bring in younger combinations. Farezzo jumped a super round with Edwin Smits. He hasn't jumped at this level before. Steve Gerdard, unlucky mistake at the beginning, and they just got caught out. And the French had a really unlucky day, I'd say. They were really not showing form. The Great Britain, your team, I think that they jumped actually really well, were unlucky, had difficult mistakes. I expect to see them jumping great tonight.
And again, for some of these teams, now I'm going to take the British team because that's a good example. You know, young riders in there as well, like, you know, Harry Charles in there, again with the experience of John Whittaker. But again, there's young riders getting that experience as we saw at the European Championships to look forward to those Longines Nations Cup finals of the next 20 years.
Yes, I think it's a great opportunity this year. We've been following it, obviously, with the studio in Riesenbeck and been able to see so many younger riders getting the chance. And yes, having mistakes, making errors, but improving. With every round you go in, you get more confidence, learn from the mistakes. You know, it's like they say, you learn tennis by playing tennis.
Yes.
And it's no different with show jumping. These young riders need to get into the ring because there are certain situations which, yes, you can train, but you can't train the adrenaline, the pressure, all these things that come with riding in a team, riding at this level, under the lights, again with crowds being there, the atmosphere. These are all things you've got to get into the ring to get it done. And I think it's a great move from chef de keeps like Di Lampard or Robert Ridland, bringing a lot of young riders, keeping experienced riders on the team just to keep them steady, keep the feet on the ground here, people, or to say, you know, don't get depressed. And I think it's a great move, what's going on.
Absolutely. Well, talking of chef de keeps, that brings me nicely on to a little catch-up that we had earlier on today. I mentioned that Spain were the home nation, of course, here, and they're into the final for the first time. We'll see them on tomorrow afternoon. And their chef de keep had a chat with us a little bit earlier on after their fantastic performance. They finished on just the 3 titles. They were the second best in qualifying, and they are certainly flying high. Here is what he had to say. Well, here in Barcelona, fabulous competitions have been taking place. Of course, day 1, that qualifier for the final day final of the Longines FEI Nations Cup. And the home team are in there. And joining us here in the studio is Carola Lopez Quezada, the chef de keep, the man in charge of the team for Spain. A very proud moment on day 1 for you.
Absolutely. For Spain, it's a very historic day, you know, because we have never been in the final. So we are very proud of our riders, owners, grooms, you know, horses, of course, and we are trying to fight for the win on Sunday.
And for you, this is a move forward. I mean, last time around, back in 2019, you were winners of the Challenge Cup.
Yeah.
As you say, it's a good step forward for you.
Yeah, of course. It's different, you know, to be in the big final.
Well, looking forward to that. You yourself, you've not been in the role very long.
No, I think since February. I think, not sure, maybe January. So it's I'm new, you know, absolutely.
Well, it's coming together very well. Let's talk about some of that team. Manuel Fernandez Saro, Ismael García Roque, Eduardo Alvarez Aznar and Sergio Alvarez Moya. A wonderful group of riders you've got together now and getting more strength in depth for the Spanish.
We are very proud about them because all of them are horsemen, you know, and they are very professional. They're always thinking in horses. Just it's a lot of horsemanship in the team, you know. I think no, so it's very important. And at the moment we have 4 horses, even the horse of Alberto, who is 5th, you know, with Uccello Meseo. So we have a strong team, I think, for on Sunday. We will try to fight.
Coming out of there with just the 3 time faults, it was 1 time fault from 3 riders that counted. What was the team tactic? Was it a thought of maybe just sacrificing the time fault, or what was the thought?
No, not really. You know, we are trying to do our best, you know, and okay, at the end, 1 time fault is a good result, no? So at the end, maybe we are a little bit a ralenti, you know, say in Spain. But they did a great job, you know, a great result for us.
And Jess, all the way through, it was a really solid performance by the Spanish, and we could hear from the crowd while we were here the anticipation, the excitement growing through it.
Yes, of course, on home ground. I mean, the crowds willing them on, and how wonderful to have the crowds again. It was great to feel that atmosphere of them supporting the Spanish boys, and we really did see how much they support each other. It's very obvious that, like you said, they're friends, and it does make a big difference when you can get this team spirit. I always find it just lifts it to a different level. And you could really see that they were going out there getting their job done, and I'm sure you have really a great feeling for the future with this bunch.
Yeah, for sure. We think we can have a very good team, you know, for the World Championship in earnings, you know. So we are trying to think a lot in this, because it's very important for Spain to try to go to the Olympics in Paris.
Yes.
In Tokyo we went with 1 rider, and we are trying to go to the team. This is top for us, no?
Good goal.
Well, let's take a look at one of those very good performances from day one, and that was Ismael García Roque. As we say, a long list of good performances in there. But for you, talk us around a little of this and what this meant for the team.
Yeah, this mare is a very scopy mare, you know. It's young, it's unexperienced, and at the beginning of the year was a little bit difficult about the control of the mare, but Ismael is doing a great job, I think. And he took part in the Riesenbeck, in the European, and he did very good results. We were 7th, I think, in the team. So for Spain, it's a good result. And at the moment here, he feels absolutely wonderful. And Ismael did top work for me.
Absolutely. Well, a fantastic round for them. Looking forward to that final. What's been the team discussion?
We are going to try to win, for sure. We are going to try. Okay, difficult, of course. But our spirit is we must win, try to win, for sure.
And of course, home ground makes such a difference, being here in Barcelona, being here in Spain.
Sorry?
Being on home ground in Spain makes a big difference.
Yeah, of course, it's Spain, so it's our country, you know, it's a special place to win. Now, it's difficult, but we are in the battle.
Well, it's a show full of energy and full of noise and full of excitement, and that's the great thing about it. We're looking forward to the excitement of the final. Good luck to Team Spain, who are going to be a part of that final as well. Can the home team take home the trophy? Well, a busy, noise-filled afternoon here in Barcelona, and we're already into the build-up here for tonight's big competition. But Spain come out tomorrow afternoon, Jessica. I mean, they're slightly underplaying their chances there. They keep saying we try, but...
I think they're really underplaying their chances. I've never seen such a solid group of riders and horses for the Spanish team as they have now. And they're very professional, the lads. And I actually really think the horses are jumping great. Of course, they're on home ground, and you know the guys, they love to be on the stage. These are guys they love to perform. So I would say they have as good a podium chance as anybody else tomorrow. I think they are a small favourite.
Absolutely. Well, another one that comes into the game, of course, is the United States of America. Previous winners of the Challenge Cup. We'll talk about a little bit their chances here as well. They're into that top 8 once again. They've had some good results here in Barcelona before now, but this could be the year where they get to the top of the podium. And who to ask about their chances? Well, a lady who's just come back from Tokyo, well, a few weeks ago now, bedecked with a new medal, a silver team medal, is, of course, the superstar that is US rider Laura Crouch. Well, and coming to join us in the studio now, I'm delighted to say alongside us, is Laura Crouch, hot foot back from winning the silver medal for the team, of course, in Tokyo for the Olympic Games, of course, alongside Jessica Curtin. Laura, great to have you here in Barcelona, back for the team again. Team USA into the final stages. What does it mean to be here in Barcelona for you?
Well, I mean, it's great to be here in Barcelona. This is sort of a goal we have every year, to be here. Sadly, last year we had to take a break due to COVID. So I'm really happy to be here. I was lucky because I base here in Europe, so I think it was easy for me to get here. It was not that easy to get people to come from the US.
And for you competing here, I mean, that first day, we saw that competition. It was a real move around for a lot of it.
It was, I tell you, that was a nail biter. I mean, and as I was warming up in the schooling area, I was doing all the computations in my head, like how was this going to work? But thankfully, it worked out.
And for you, bringing back the fabulous Ballottini, your ride from the Tokyo Olympic Games, great to be back in with that horse, I'm sure.
Yes, it's great. I mean, I haven't been riding him still very long, so it's nice for me each time I get the opportunity to compete. I'm learning more and more about him.
Competitive spirit. Jessica's alongside you. The two of you have ridden against each other on plenty of occasions, looking how I phrase it. Jess, what's it like getting in there in that situation? You've been up against each other in team competition before.
Yeah, but I think the two of us know it's when you've got somebody like Laura coming behind you in the jump-off, there's no point in saying who's in the lead. It's, oh, Laura still has to go. So she's definitely, I mean, if not the fastest woman in the world, she certainly is one of them. And yeah, I think we've had a few good battles over the years, and yeah, good stuff.
The good thing is you still talk to each other.
Oh yeah, no, definitely, definitely. Always friendly rivalry with us.
It helps retiring.
I can say that nobody was that upset when she retired.
Thank you. Jess, for you coming into here, I mean, again, it's all about looking as well for teams. You've got Spencer Smith and a few of the younger faces on here as well that are getting that more experience here in Barcelona. More of those we're seeing through the teams. What's it like for you being a part of that and being a little bit of a guiding light for them too?
Well, it's great. I mean, I feel like, yes, I've become the grandmother of the team,
Oh,
so
no.
it's kind of nice to, you know, to be there to offer my advice if they need it. I mean, we've got a strong group of up-and-coming riders, so they handle themselves just fine without me. But in case I'm needed, I'll be able to give them some help.
We prefer godmother of the team.
Godmother, okay.
But for you come as well, I mean, coming here and being part of the Nations Cup final, great to be back involved in this team competition that takes it to an edge. Last night, for a number of the teams, Team USA, Team Ireland, for a few of you, a few nervous moments in there.
Definitely. I mean, you know, you start off the night and, you know, Lily had one time fault and Robert said, that's great, that's, you know, that'll do it. And then the next two had 5 faults, and I thought, okay, that's good. You know, you're watching as you go, and then all of a sudden you start to add it up, and you think, wait a minute, this is not going to be an easy situation. So, yeah, I think for a lot of teams, it was a big surprise.
And looking ahead, of course, to Sunday's big final, Team USA back in there. You've been there at both ends of it, from the Challenge Cup winners to being up there for the top few two on the final day.
Yeah, I mean, we were very happy to make Sunday. We've often not made Sunday. This has been one of the harder places for us. So I think this is our 3rd time to make it to the Sunday. So we were very, very happy to get through, and we'll see what happens.
Looking to make the most of it. Good luck, Team USA. Jessica, for you, what's she like to compete against? What's it going to be like on Sunday going against Laura Kraus?
Well, I think one thing the team members should be very thankful that they have her on the team, because Laura is, there's no question, not only is she one of the best riders in the world, one of the gutsiest women, I think we can say that, but she's also very, very professional, and I don't mean to just, you know, drop it in really well with you, but no, really, and I think it's wonderful that Laura is still there for these young people coming up. It's an extremely young team that you're riding with. The American talent, wow, it's just suddenly taking off, and I think it's wonderful that they can profit from her ability.
Well, hopefully it comes to a good conclusion. Good luck, Laura, on the final on Sunday. Fantastic. Jess, as you say, a tough competitor all the way through. Tough team to beat, but there's a lot of tough teams in there. We'll see how it comes out. But our thanks to Laura Kraut, and good luck to Team USA. Absolutely, Team USA. And now we're also reminding you about who you can get involved in social media. Hashtag Be Proud, supporting your nation throughout the Nations Cup, of course. Be Proud, there it is, hashtag. And, of course, Jessica, she's got her flag up there. I've got I've got mine for my nation, Great Britain. We are in tonight. You're in tomorrow night. Should I make a comment on that or not?
We are in tomorrow, but you know, I'm with you all the way tonight. We'll do a little bit of cross-border, and I'll support you tonight.
Absolutely. Well, I'll be flying the flag. I have to make sure I've got it the right way up as well. There's all sorts of people that get in all sorts of trouble because if it's the wrong way up, apparently you're in distress, and we don't want to be that. We want to be winning. We want to be at the top of the podium, but I have to be sitting a little bit neutral. Jessica, however, doesn't. Jessica can be full on for the Irish tomorrow, but for Jess, just give me a little bit of background because you've got this experience. I mean, we're bedecked in the flag right now, but you have been and ridden out there with the flag on your chest in the team colours. What is that like?
Well, it brings different feelings with it. Obviously, I think the most important, once you get over the first anxiety, is this proudness. The proudness to ride for your country, the proudness to ride for your teammates, that your horse has the stage, that your owner has the stage, the fact that everybody comes together with at the show. It's such a great atmosphere to ride for the country, but it brings really a lot of pressure with it, because suddenly if you let your mind wander, you can say, oh, everybody's sitting at home, and if I let the country down, I've let down everybody. I've let down the local plumber, you know, the chimney sweep, everybody I've let down. So it really does bring quite a lot of pressure, but once you get over that, it's this feeling of togetherness. And doing it for your friends. There's nothing more than getting into the ring, jumping it clear, and knowing that your teammates are coming behind and you've done it good for them. Well,
a very proud moment. You've been on winning teams as well for the Irish there, of course, including European Championship gold. And, well, as I say, just behind me, you can see it on the screen. But the easy way for you to get involved, send us your pictures. We want to see you with your flags as well, from whichever nation you're supporting. Maybe all the nations, we don't mind. But we want to see all of it on our social media as well. Get on Twitter, get on Facebook, all of those. Hashtag Be Proud. Well, we've got lots to be proud of here in Barcelona. It's an amazing city. And for those of us that have been lucky enough to take a little look around it, of course, it was the city that staged the Olympic Games back in 1992, but it's still been progressive ever since then. So here's a little look at our hosts here in Spain.
The pinnacle of team show jumping, the Longines FEI Nations Cup final, has been held here for the last 7 years, but it's a show with a far longer history. CSIO Barcelona is the oldest international sporting event in the whole of Spain. This year marks the 109th edition, and the Real Club de Polo is the perfect venue for an event with such history, prestige and popularity among the riders.
Very happy to be back here in Barcelona in this amazing final. Very exciting for this weekend.
My first time coming here was for the Olympic Games in '92, so for me it holds really, you know, a great memory. But it's a beautiful ring. It's very special. They make it special. It's, you know, for the Nations Cup final, for those of us who love to do the Nations Cups, this is it. This is the top event.
Obviously I love football, so I love Barcelona. Since the first final in Barcelona was always been a goal in the year, and I'm very excited to be back here. We missed it last year, and luckily we are back now, and hopefully we're going to have great sport.
And away from the jumping action, this is the place to come. The polo field has been transformed into a mini festival. There are loads of drink stalls and bars, there's a shopping area and plenty of activities for the kids.
Well, there, a little look behind the scenes here in Barcelona. What a wonderful venue it is. We were just talking about 1992, but it's just kept being a major sporting venue, hasn't it?
It definitely is one of the highlights of the year coming here. So much history in the polo club here, and it really is a club when you go around and you see the people who come here on a daily basis, keep their horses here. it's not just about the sport.
And it's lots of other sports. It's tennis. We've got Fabregas's, the whole family. They've got their shirts up in the entrance down there. So there's been a few famous faces come through the club over the years. And, well, a few more famous jumping faces to get into action here over the 2 days. As I say, we're into the Challenge Cup tonight. And also tomorrow into that Sunday is one of the big teams as well that was the winner last time around. Of course, that was 2019. And that was Ireland. And, well, we sent Jessica along. It was time for me to take a step to one side and have a full Irish chat because she caught up with two of the members and just found out what it was like being part of the Irish team here in Barcelona.
Well, I have to say it's a great pleasure for me to invite two of my team compatriots into the studio here today. And I remember one or two great jump-offs against Darragh, but he wasn't that quick in those days, but he's turned in now to not only one of the best, but one of the fastest men in the world. And together with Darragh, we have Michael G. Duffy. Thank you both very much for coming in. It was a great battle yesterday. And you both did a very good job, obviously, to get into the final. Darragh, that last round for you was critical. Did you feel very confident that Cartello was in great form?
Yeah, to be honest, he felt very good warming up, and he was really relaxed and calm and felt like he was loose and jumping really well. So I felt quite confident in him, and he's normally super reliable. So I thought I just have to do a good job here and not mess up.
And obviously you'd seen so many people getting time faults, and you realised that this was a critical factor of the day, was the time. How much was that present in your mind as you turned to the last line?
I already knew that there was going to be a couple of teams on equal faults, and I needed to be quick enough anyways, never mind even the time allowed. But the horse, he's a quick enough horse, and all I have to do is turn a little bit short, and then he's naturally quite quick over the jump, so I wasn't too worried. And then, okay, the last line, I knew that the 6 was going to be nice for me, and I always planned to do one extra to the last, so I just stuck with that plan.
Yeah, you quite often add up with him, but like you say, over covering the ground really quickly. And Michael G, your round was great yesterday. How do you feel with Lappuccino? Do you think that you could have avoided the mistake, or did you feel that, okay, this is something we had to live with?
I felt like he jumped great, and he was in great form. He's been jumping very well consistently over the last number of months. And yeah, last night, like you said, the time was tight, and I had that a little bit in my head, and maybe just needed to check myself for a second before the triple power. I kind of kept coming, and just ended up a little bit far away.
Yeah, always self-critical.
Yeah.
That's what makes the best jockeys. And you got the whole family here supporting you. It must be great at last. I mean, we see so many families and the kids and everybody here. It must be so nice to have the fans of the family with you again.
Yeah, it's brilliant. My dad is here and he's loving it, and you know, in walking all the courses and telling me what I'm doing right and what I'm doing wrong, keeping me on my toes. So it's brilliant.
No better man. And Darragh, tomorrow, how do you feel? Team's chances looking good?
Yeah, to be honest, I think we do have a strong team, and the horses are all in good form. And like, we've seen a lot of drama here over the years, the way it can go and the things that can happen. So, you know, if it goes our direction, I think we have a real shout. Obviously, the Germans look super strong. They look incredible. But I think we have a shout if it goes our direction.
And what do you think about Chef de Keep, Michael Blake, well known for being a tactician? How do you see the order if you happen to come in a jump-off? Will the 5th man come in? Will you be making a change? How's it looking with your tactician, Chef de Keep?
Yeah, Michael does a super job. He's really organised, and he's really great with the team. And you know, we're all quite friendly, and we all stick together, and it's a real good atmosphere. And I think, you know, if it comes down to a jump off, you know, like we have a few good horses, and there's a few different options, and it's kind of what's going the best. And
option number 1 here. I hope we don't have to use any of the other options.
He's desperately trying to avoid answering that one.
Yes, exactly. Trying to be politically correct here.
Well, we do have Chef de Keep, Michael Blake, lurking in the background of the studio here, so he's listening to every word, getting all information to see which jockeys are in form for tomorrow. And after a great year that you've had, Darragh, how do you think your winter is going to look? Are you going to stay over here now, do some World Cups, or will we see you heading back to America?
Normally I do 2 weeks in San Marin, and then I do the Global Tour final in Prague, and then I do the Rolex show in Geneva, and then I'll go back to America then after that.
Yeah, super.
Yeah.
And Michael G, staying in Germany. No Christmas holidays back home?
No Christmas holidays. Yeah, we have a lot of young horses now. We've done a busy summer with big shows, so I think take a little step back now and spend the winter producing some very nice talented 7-year-olds, have them ready for next year.
Super. Well, I'll certainly be flying the flag tomorrow, and I wish the team and you both and the rest of the lads the very best of luck. And yeah, I hope there'll be reason for great celebration tomorrow night when you're finished.
I hope so too.
Thank you very much.
Thank you both very much for coming in.
Where's that British flag? This is getting far too Irish around here. Jess, let's go and introduce you to, well, and all of you, to a few of those faces that are going to be part of the teams over the 2 days here. We've got a quick run through, 72 riders, 15 chef de keeps, and 1 brilliant course designer as well. Let's put some names to those faces. Well, there we are, a quick express run through the teams here this week, but great quality from John Whittaker right the way through to the German squad. We recognise many of those, of course, the European champion, the Americans, Lily Keenan, Laura Crack, they're all in there.
Amazing. I mean, if you could get just a still shot at one moment, you can get one face wearing somebody else's hair. It's fantastic.
But of course, there are 2 faces that are out there in the arena as well, and some amazing horses here this week too. We've talked a little bit about Daniel Deusser, the #1 rider, and his ride. We're going to take a detailed look and also have a look at some of the other horses, because we've got some gold medal winners here as well. It's a little segment that we just simply put as the Regal Kings and Queens.
So this morning I'm meeting show jumping royalty, literally. There's King Edward, who was the only horse at the Tokyo Olympics to jump 6 clear rounds. He won team gold with his rider Henrik von Eckermann for Sweden. And joining the King is Killer Queen, who is Daniel Deusser's ride, and she's been instrumental in getting him and keeping him at world #1. The German rider, of course, winning so many top Grand Prix with this horse in the last 12 months. So let's go meet the Regal pair. So, Tia, does King Edward live up to his name? Does he think he's a king out of the competition arena?
Yeah, I think he knows it, that he is the best, and I think he knows that he's good at his job.
What's he like to look after?
He's really easygoing, and he's really kind, and he doesn't make drama. So he's a nice horse to have around.
And just how special is he to you? What have the last few months meant to you working with him so closely?
Of course, it's been great to see him doing so well, and it was maybe a bit surprising. I did not think that he gonna be this great for in Tokyo, and I think it's great to look after him and see him growing every day.
So, Sean, what's Killer Queen like to look after?
I think she lives up to her name a little bit now. When she was younger, she was not so sassy. Now she's a little bit more sassy the better she gets.
So she certainly is a sort of, a bit of a diva?
Yeah, diva would be a good word to describe her at the moment. But I mean, when she's jumping like she does, I don't mind her being a diva.
And what does she mean to you? How special have the last few weeks and few months been?
Okay, after Tokyo, we was on a little bit of a downer, and then she was very good in Sefex Masters, and then she won the Grand Prix in Aachen. And I think if everybody was watching Aachen, they could see how much it meant to me, because I couldn't stop crying. Killer Queen's like one of my children. She's very special to me, and she knows I'm her person.
Well, there are 2 superstars. Princess alongside me, Jessica. She's certainly no diva, though. Jessica, we're just looking into the final stages of running into tonight's Challenge Cup. 5 teams, 20 riders, in fact 19 riders that we're going to see. Switzerland with just 3 riders in. That becomes a little bit harder for them. Norway, France, Great Britain, Switzerland, Italy. Who's going to come out on top?
Well, we have lost Brian Balsiger, obviously a little problem with 22 de Biche, but they're my neighbours, so I wish the Swiss the very best.
Absolutely.
I'm supporting them.
Well, I've got to go for Great Britain, of course, because it's home team for me. Good luck to them all tonight. We will see who stands atop of the podium here for the Challenge Cup here at the Longines FEI Nations Cup Finals. Our commentary team will pick up in just a few moments' time as you will catch up with Alice and Phil to bring you all the action on FEI.tv.
Top Grand Prix with this horse in the last 12 months. So let's go.
Good evening and welcome to day 2 of the 2021 Longines FEI Jumping Nations Cup Final. Yesterday we witnessed the 15 nations battling it out for only 8 places in the most prestigious annual team championship final on Sunday. Today, the rival teams that did not make the top 8 compete for the Longines FEI Challenge Cup. Barcelona is the second largest city in Spain, the cosmopolitan capital of the Catalonia region. The Mediterranean coast can be found at the bottom of the central boulevard of the city, Las Ramblas. A modern landmark is Camp Nou, home of the Barcelona football team. And the 19th century architect Antoni Gaudi designed many of the outstanding features in this vibrant city, headlined by the La Sagrada Familia Cathedral. A beautiful city, a perfect host for the Longines FEI Nations Cup Final. And the arena all set for this incredibly important competition this evening. 5 teams, which we'll talk about a bit later, come forward for the Challenge Cup tonight and are jumping so much more than just the competition that we'll see it unfold. After withdrawals from Uzbekistan and Canada, there are 5 teams coming forward for the Challenge Cup. All of these teams, France, Switzerland, Italy, Great Britain and Norway, are from the Nations Cup Division 1. Tonight is not just about winning it, it is also about staying in the top division. France, the 2016 Olympic champions, finished on 22 faults last night. Chef d'équipe Thierry Pomel has changed his anchor rider for today, bringing in Mathieu Billot to replace Olivier Robert. It is a surprise to find the recently crowned European champion Switzerland in today's competition after they finished 12th of the 15 teams yesterday. Despite that disappointing performance, they are favourite to take today's Challenge Cup. Pathfinder Pier Giorgio Bucci got Italy off to a great start in the first round, jumping clear with just 1 time penalty. With 5 fences down, plus some time penalties from the following riders, they finished in 11th place. Great Britain had an evening of mixed fortunes. Whilst a letdown to not make the top 8 for tomorrow's final, the future looks brighter after a perfect round from 22-year-old Harry Charles, the only athlete jumping for the €50,000 double clear bonus this evening. No nation left the influence of the clock. No nation felt the influence of the clock more than Norway in last night's nail-biting contest. Anchor rider Geir Gulliksen needed to jump clear with 1 time penalty in hand to make the cut for Sunday. He had a clear jumping round, but the 2 time penalties dropped them into 9th. And the course designer here, Santiago Varela Velasquez, Olympic course designer and regular course designer here at the Real Club de Polo Barcelona. Well, I'm very pleased to be joined alongside me by international show jumper Alice Watson. Alice, as always, Santi, as he's known, has done a superb job on the first day, hasn't he?
Absolutely. We had thrills and spills yesterday. Real mix of performances, some real surprises thrown in there. The likes of Steve Gerda, who we were expecting go for a clear, came back with 2 down and a time fault. But we had some great performances from some of the younger teams and Spain themselves as well.
Let's have a look at today's course, Alice.
Yeah, we start the VIP end with this Oxer. 6 strides down to the vertical, standing at 158. Loop back round to the Oxer, wide Oxer at number 3, 1.65 m wide. And then round to this rather nasty looking double. Top rail of part A element is actually a flimsy plank at 158 centimetres high. 1 stride to the Oxer and then 5 very committed strides down to number 5, another 165 wide Oxer. Then we sweep back round to the Longines wall, caused a little bit of trouble yesterday. 1.60 m again, quiet 7 strides down to the water, 3.9 metre stretch here, and then a very forward 6 strides to number 8. The Oxer coming round, this is actually a triple bar going into this double. 2 strides to a very tall vertical, and then we've got a real half distance from 9 to 10, 6.5 strides it walks, so options there, and then a very, very short 6 to this 1.60 m Liverpool. That line could be very influential. Round to the Longines combination, 1 stride and 2 strides, and then very level 6 strides down to the last, another big stretch to finish. We've got 13 obstacles, 17 jumping efforts, and a time allowed of 78 seconds.
Thank you, Alice. Well, that's the track for day 2 here in beautiful Barcelona. It's a balmy evening. It must be in the 20s. We'll find out in a minute, actually, because we'll be told. But it's just the most glorious place. So you can actually see on the screens there the polo park, where all the lights are. Below the main arena where we're seated is the wonderful festival on a polo park, which they put on during the Barcelona finals. France are the first of the 5 nations in this second round today. Penelope Leprovo, she'll be first in. Piergiorgia Bucci, best of the Italians yesterday with just 1 time penalty. Steve Gerda, we just heard, he's the first of what'll be just 3 riders for Switzerland. And Maria Valder-Longam, one of 2 jumping clear rounds for Norway. And Antonio Maria Garofalo, Conquistador, he's coming in 12th for Italy. Harry Charles, if he jumps clear, he wins a 50,000 bonus for Great Britain. Matthew Billot for France, he replaces Olivier Robert. Then we've got the individual silver medalist for Switzerland from the Europeans, Martin Fuchs. And then last in for Norway will be Geir Gulliksen. And there it is. It's now nearly 2100 hours local time here in Barcelona. And there on your graphics, 21 degrees centigrade. It's rather a pleasant evening to be here in Barcelona, Alice, isn't it?
Absolutely. Very disappointed not to be back home in the rain.
And this arena, of course, synonymous with the top international equestrian sport, apart from the many times that the Longines FEI Jumping Nations Cup final has been held here in 1992. This was the site of the equestrian competitions for the Olympic Games. And so the Real Club de Polo has hosted equestrianism here in the form of jumping for many, many years. And of course it is a polo club. So all the polo ponies are moved out of the polo club to accommodate all the international horses to come in here for this wonderful Longines competition this weekend. Very well organised, a great place to be. It's absolutely beautiful, and quite honestly, we are in for not just a hot but a spicy competition tonight. Alice, the importance of this competition is it can't be underestimated. With the 5 nations from Europe Division 1 of the Longines FEI Nations Cup, the legs that they have to qualify to come to the final. And we always knew that one of the 10 teams from Europe Division 1 that are competing here this weekend, we always knew that one of them was going to be relegated. What we did not predict was that the Challenge Cup was going to be made up of just nations from Europe Division 1, which is what we've got tonight. So the team that finishes last tonight will not be in Europe Division 1 of the Nations Cup qualifiers next season.
And that is huge.
It's absolutely massive. The importance of this competition, from the athletes' point of view, the horses, the owners and everything. People, this is one of the oldest, started in 1909. It is one of the most prestigious, probably the most prestigious annual team jumping competition in the globe. And we are about to commence with day 2. And I can't think of anywhere that would look more pleasant and fitting than that arena that we can see at the moment. And this lady has jumped on this perfect surface many, many times. You can feel the tension as Penelope Lepreveau waits to come in to the arena under the bright lights in front of an excited crowd in Barcelona. World number 36 in the Longines FEI World Rankings. Penelope Lepreveau gets us underway for France on GFE Excalibur de la Tour Vidal. Many times flown the flag in international competitions for France, including Olympic gold medal, team gold medal from the Rio Olympic Games in 2016.
Just saw her there rehearsing a few of her turns. It's a pretty twisty track right from the offset. Let's see how it's done.
Penelope Lepreveau for France. GFE Excalibur de la Tour Vidal.
And just keep an eye on that time allowed, 78 seconds. Yesterday, that proved hugely influential. 9 riders finished with clear jumping with just 1 time penalty. Penelope herself picked up a time penalty and a fence down, finished on 5 faults yesterday. Gets that 5 stride distance nicely. She's actually gone a forward 6 there. Walked a nice quiet 7. But this big striding stallion. She made that 6 strides very easily. Just showing off the rideability of Excalibur there. You could see him come right back, having opened up for the forward 6 strides. Come right back, shorten up his stride and get the 6 short strides to the vertical. Time is going to be a problem.
Alice, you raised the question at the start of the competition, is the time going to play a part? We've had the first rider, she's jumped clear, but there's 1 time penalty for Penelope Lepreveau and GFE Excalibur de la Tour Vidal.
And yesterday we saw Norway, the impact of 1 time penalty, which if they had done without, they wouldn't be here tonight. Could 1 time penalty be at stake the relegation. Beautiful slow motion pictures there.
We now go to Italy. And what a super round with the one-time penalty yesterday, but clear jumping. Piergiorgio Bucci, Nayad Del Sandem, Z.
You can see Nayad wearing what looks like a superhero mask, a liquid titanium mask. Fairly new concept. But the...
What's the plan? What do they think it does?
They think that it calms the horses. Nervous, sort of a bit nervy horses. It's meant to settle them down, make them a little more relaxed. Some people swear by them.
All the teams start from zero. They don't carry forward any of the faults from the first of the three competitions yesterday. But those points, those faults certainly will count.
Big jump over the wall. Gets the 6 strides nicely down to the oxer. Oh, he's cut his corner a little bit there. Nicely done on the inside line to get the 6 strides early for the first part, and shortens up nicely for the vertical. Just landed a little short of that oxer coming in.
.74, so a second a quarter inside the time, but the 3 fences down. 12 penalties for Italy, with Piergiorgio Bucci and Nayad Del Sandem, Z. Disappointing start for Italy, as with the normal Nations Cup competitions. 4 riders in a team, except Switzerland tonight. We'll come on to that, but best 3 scores count.
Sometimes, Phil, the reason for having a fence is the horse simply doesn't jump high enough, as we saw there in the slow motion coming through that double.
Now the first of the quartet for Great Britain. Holly Smith riding the 13-year-old gelding Denver. Holly Smith ranked 48th in the Longines World Rankings.
Holly had a good win yesterday in the opening class with Frusley. Tonight it's Ruth and Ian Dowie's Denver, former eventer, that just shot up the levels in show jumping in a very short amount of time with Holly. He's been a real winner for her already. 7 strides to the water. To shorten up the first few strides so that she could use a bit of pressure, but still get there on the right spot. She went 5 strides down to the vertical. Denver can just get a little bit strong. He just took on that oxer a bit. So yeah, really having to work hard to shorten him through the combination. job. Nicely inside the time.
And a nice start for Great Britain with just that one fence down both parts of the Oxer, but just the 4 faults. So 4 faults for Holly Smith and Denver for Great Britain. Just going back to the time, we saw a time penalty from Penelope Leprevo, 78 seconds, and Holly was, what, a couple of seconds inside the time?
Yes, she was.
So it looks like it's, you know, it's pretty achievable.
Yeah. But Holly had no time faults yesterday. It's often the way. The ones that get inside the time make it look easy, but that can sometimes
sorry, Alice.
lure the others into a false sense of security. But
now for Norway, Victoria Gulliksen with Papa Roach. And as you mentioned at the beginning of the programme, Alice, Norway, who missed out in the top 8 for the big 1.25 million final tomorrow, but just by 1 time penalty. I know that was a real blow. We saw Victoria's father last night, and he couldn't believe he'd had 2 time penalties. I thought he'd timed it. He knew he could have 1.
interestingly, Phil, 4 riders yesterday had 2 time penalties. 3 of those were on 4 jumping faults, so none of them were stops or disasters. But you don't see that too often from otherwise good jumping rounds. Victoria doing a good job here. She finished 9th individually a couple of weeks ago at the European Championships at Riesenbeck with this horse.
And she's jumped well in the Nations Cup legs as well.
She jumped some brilliant clears in the Nations Cups. Just a bit of an uncharacteristic couple of early poles yesterday, but then jumped the technical lines really well. Wonder if Papa Roach just took a little bit of time to adjust to the lights. I think she might be in trouble with the time, but
great. She will be in trouble for the time, but she's still clear. She comes down for the Longines Oxer, she jumps it. She's got the 2 time penalties, but she is clear, and that's a much improved round. She had 9 faults yesterday, but they will be delighted with that. Victoria Gulliksen, Papa Roach for Norway, clear jumping, 2 time penalties. Great start for Norway. And that's a much happier Victoria than we saw yesterday.
normal service is resumed.
And very, very focused. All these teams are very focused on the fact that they cannot be 5th out of 5 tonight, because they'll be relegated from Europe Division 1 of the Longines FEI Nations Cup. And that is certainly very much, as I say, at the forefront of their minds. To France. Gregory Totard riding the 10-year-old mare Bebici.
They were a little unlucky yesterday. Just a foot on the tape.
In the water, yeah.
Yeah, in the water. Beachy naturally quite quick across the ground between her fences. Really agile little horse. The time allowed shouldn't be a problem for these guys. He's in again, I think.
Yes, the judge's hand is up, the 4's on the board, and that's another one, that's 8.
He really shortened him up on the first 3 strides so he could really ride for the tape, but didn't quite make the stretch. And as a result of riding so hard at the water, the next fence just couldn't get her back in time for, causing the front rail of that Oxer to go as well.
And perfectly timed with the foot in the water and the pole on the floor. That makes it 8 faults in all for Gregory Totard and Babici for France. 8 penalties. And if you've just joined us, it's just the 5 teams in the Challenge Cup tonight, because the 2 other teams who jumped yesterday, Uzbekistan and Canada, have withdrawn from tonight's round 2 of the Longines FEI Jumping Nations Cup final. Well, one of the surprises of the competition yesterday was that the European champions did not make the top 8 for the big final tomorrow. They find themselves in the Challenge Cup tonight, and added to their woes, they are down a rider. Brian Bulsiger has withdrawn from the team. Just something very minor with his mount. Everything's fine, but he's withdrawn for the best safety reasons, so they are down to 3. All scores count. So the first of their trio was in the team that won the European team gold medal 4 weeks ago. Steve Gerdat, former world #1, with Victorio de Frottard for Switzerland.
This was one of the more surprising rounds from yesterday. 2 fences down and a time fault for this combination that won both the 5-star Grand Prix and World Cup at Basel in January, and a few weeks later the World Cup in Bordeaux as well. So they're an experienced combination, but that is what keeps this sport so exciting. No place for complacency. Just looked like he had a little spook of that water, nearly thought about nipping out the side. And Steve did well to redirect him back to the centre of the fence and get him the other side of it, but a couple of bricks went flying as a result. Nicely down that line. Awesome. Just gonna say, actually jumping very well.
Well, just the 3 riders, all scores count. So 2 down, 8 faults will have to count for Switzerland. 8 faults for Steve Gerdat, Victorio de Frottard for Switzerland. It's a fragile day for all these teams, and with no drop score, it puts extra pressure on the remaining riders.
Who would have thought the reigning Olympic champions would be fighting for survival in Division 1 just a few weeks later? And the withdrawal of Brian Bulsiger really does put the pressure on for the Swiss team.
For Italy, Fabio Brotto with Vanita Del Ruan.
This one of the combinations that picked up 2 time faults yesterday. 1 fence down and the 2 time faults. And that could be even more expensive today.
Fabio Brotto, Vanita Del Ruan, Italy.
Lovely jumping mare, but you can just see she's got that slower tempo and just spends a little bit longer in the air. A little bit heavier set than some of the other horses, and that just makes achieving the time allowed that much more difficult on a horse like this.
Fabulous scope there.
Beautifully.
Jumps with ease, isn't it?
Just didn't change her rhythm at all down that line. Shortens up for the 7 strides, the Oxer. It's a bit of a surprise for a big horse like this, but he obviously knows her well. Definitely going to be in time fault territory. And another just to come down a bit short on the back bar coming in.
Well, that was a round of 2 halves for Fabio Brotto. It was going so well, except the last line of fences. So 10 faults and all for Fabio Brotto. Vanita Del Ruan for Italy.
Just looked like she ran out of steam a bit at the end, not quite stretching to make the back bars and shortening to come out of the combination. But another big horses tend to tire a little quicker than the little blood horses. Just took its toll there. See on the slow motion, just comes down a little bit short, takes the back rail with her.
Giorgio Bucci looking on.
Picked up the 2-time penalties again.
For Great Britain, 23-year-old Emily Moffitt riding the 12-year-old gelding, winning good. They jumped a good round yesterday. Well, they had a fence down and a time penalty, but that was, on the face of it,
frustrating.
It was a good round.
Fence right at the end. Just another full foul of that triple bar on the turn. She's definitely thinking more forwards today. Tight back around that island. Little rub of the plank, but gets away with it. Just see she lands and moves up. Gets the 7 strides and keeps rolling on down. 6 strides to the Oxer. Gets there easily on 6 strides. Shortens up nicely. Now now just to keep him contained.
Still clear. 8 seconds to get home. Emily Moffitt winning good. Jumps the last. Plenty of time on the clock. That is an absolutely superb clear from Emily Moffitt and winning good for Great Britain. That's the first clear we've seen this evening in the Longines FEI Challenge Cup. Emily Moffitt winning good. Keep Great Britain way in contention, right up there in the Challenge Cup. Great way to finish their Nations Cup campaign here this weekend.
Big pats for winning good. That was a great round. And actually under a fair amount of pressure. Not only for the team here today, but for Great Britain in general. To keep them in Division 1, where they need to be to get access to this kind of show. Week in, week out. And it's very hard to stay at the top level if you're not able to get into these shows and compete against the best.
For Norway, 29-year-old Marie Vardø Longem and Echo de Vert. Another one of the many that, or the several I should say, that had clear jumping yesterday with just the one-time penalty. Great performance for Norway and needed tonight as well.
Put in some great performances in the Nations Cup series this summer. Brilliant double clear at Sopot, where they really caught the eye. And again, Echo de Verton's just one of those horses that's a little bit more natural. Water's gone. Naturally, just a little bit more laid back, takes a bit more time. Beautifully level. Just a little bit too relaxed, that part B of the double. Again, another fairly big horse, just looking a little bit tired. Making a couple of mistakes that he wouldn't normally make.
And over the time, so 3 fences down, one-time penalty, 13 penalties in total for Marie Vardø Longem and Echo de Burton for Norway. Disappointing after that superb round yesterday. Johan Sebastian and Geir Gulliksen to come for Norway. Shows you the best possible scores as we are now at the halfway stage of the Longines FEI Challenge Cup here on day 2 of the 2021 Longines FEI Jumping Nations Cup final. They are going to have a break, and let's just reflect. We think we should look at Italy. Italy, Alice, has got a 12 and a 10. That's dangerous territory as far as the Europe Division 1 is concerned, and in terms of winning tonight, far too early to make any predictions. So we're going to have a small break whilst they just do some braking in the arena before they come back and commence with the remaining 10 riders.
Well, there, Jessica and I back in the studio watching it. Well, it's been an interesting rundown. We're going to go through a little bit of analysis and see what they did in just a few moments' time. Early stages yet. Well, Switzerland there with the 8. We saw a little bit of a change around for Norway, but the easiest way to work it out is going to be to talk it through. So, actually, Jessica, let's talk it through. Let's see what we've got, because it was an interesting run down there. We saw Switzerland coming in with the 3 riders in there, so the pressure's on them because all those scores are going to count. Steve Goddard, you'd be relying on, you'd be wanting a clear out of, and it didn't quite happen.
No, I mean, yesterday Vittorio just didn't show the form that he had shown a couple of weeks ago in winning a 5-star Grand Prix. And today it looked at the beginning that Steve had everything really good, nice under control. He loves to give him a lot of room on the jumps. And again, he got caught out by the wall. And
well, let's have a look at that. Let's have a look at the round of Steve Goddard and see how it came together. As you say, it was the wall that caught them out at the Longines wall, and then a little bit later on into the round as well here.
Yes, and he was really trying to keep it together because, you know, Steve knows exactly stride for stride. It's about minimizing the mistakes, and I really feel that he had Vittorio much better with him towards the end of the course. I mean, the wall was again a silly mistake, but then he turns for home, and he comes in maybe just a little flatter than he wanted to, and sits very quiet and just gets caught with the hind legs coming out. It was,
well, a tough one for them, and well, for the Swiss, well, they're going to have that counting in there. We're actually going to go and head out to the warm-up because Ali's out there to get the view of those on the floor. Well, I think she's still chatting with them, so we're going to go to Ali in a few moments' time. But from Ali's point of view, she'll be getting the views of what the teams are thinking. A lot of thinking is going to be going on right now because you saw Italy go in there 12 and 14. That's not the start they would have wanted.
No, that's really not the 12 and the 14. And actually, Pier Giorgio got caught by what I think is a very tricky double here with that lot of different colours, that number 4 and then the white plank on top. He got caught out by that. And Fabio Brotto was looking great, but I actually think Fabio Brotto's done really well with this horse over the last weeks, and I do think he was just lacking a little bit in power at the end of the course. It's interesting because we have a clear round from Victoria Gulliksen, we have a 13 from Marie, so it's very open.
And we saw, of course, that clear round from Emily Moffitt. We're going to put Victoria Gulliksen in there. She was actually 2 on time, but as you say, jumping clear over the fences. Emily Moffitt inside the time with winning good. But let's look at Vicky Gulliksen.
Yeah, I really think this was a great round, and I'm not sure we'll be able to hear this now, but we could certainly hear it across the arena. The hops that she was giving. And it was really, you could see her fighting and fighting. Her dad got 2 time faults, which kept them out of the final yesterday. And at a later hour, he did say, oh, it's Victoria's fault. So she was making really sure that it was not going to be her fault tonight if they don't get into the Super League next year.
The pressure is on Jimmy Gulliksen now. Dad's got to do the business. But actually, going in there, we saw Marie Longines in there. They have got pressure on now because it was 13 from her, and that was not the round we've seen from them earlier this week. And
really, Marie was solid yesterday. She brought the 0 yesterday, so they were banking on her bringing it again today. But I still do think with Geyer's horse, I think they can have a nice clear. I think it's possible, but let's wait and see.
Well, let's wait and see. And actually, we should point out to those viewers watching Norway, if you think it all sounds a bit familiar, and you know, we talk about team spirit, 3 of the members of the team are father, son and daughter. So Jimmy Gulliksen, Guy Gulliksen, son is Johan, and then daughter is Victoria as well. So it's very much in the family there. For them, you know, it's going to be, you know, also about, as you say, getting into that Division 1 next season too. So pressure on them. But the strongest at the moment, France coming out there with 1 and 8, but Great Britain with the strongest really, with the 4 in the clear. But, you know, with 2 riders in, there's quite a long way to go here. And this is where you shouldn't be, you know, getting too excited. You've got to hold this together here. What is the difference? We talked about the rider that goes first, the lead out rider having pressure on, the last rider having pressure on. But if you're in the middle of the pack too, you've got to hold it together, especially if there's a round that's not gone quite so well already.
Yes, I think particularly in this Challenge Cup today, because we're talking basically today about the rest, if we don't want to put it in difficult terms. These are the teams that didn't show the form yesterday. They didn't make the final, and here they are jumping a final track. That is a big, difficult technical track out there this evening that Santiago Valera has built. And, you know, the high scores are a little bit to be expected. And I think with 0 and 4, Team GB looking good.
We've got 2 riders to come, Harry Charles. We've got 2 ends of the age gap. John Whittaker in the team there as well for Great Britain. You mentioned the course in there. A quick little rundown of what you think and how it's ridden so far, what Santi's done.
Yes, when we walked the course together earlier, I felt that he'd played a few of his favourite tricks. He has that number 3, that rollback. He had built exactly the same line in the Olympics in Tokyo. 4AB, I think, is a very tricky jump. It's riding not too bad. The wall is a little bit, you can't see it until you get very, close around the corner. That's a difficult 7 strides up to the water. It's very short. The 6 is a little bit flat to the skinny oxer, and then he opens the horses up with the flat triple bar, and the triple combination, he's set it a slightly offline, and that's caught actually a couple of people.
It's a tough one. Well, we'll see who comes out of it. Great Britain, maybe. We will see who will come top. One of these 5 teams will be taking home the Longines Challenge Cup. And remember, your support is needed as well. Hashtag be proud. Get on social media. Show your support. We want to see your flags. We want to see you in those pictures. We want to see your flags in there with your horses, with everybody in it. Get in there. Send us your pictures. And in the meantime, follow all the action on FEI.tv, as well as we will rejoin the live action in a few moments' time with Phil and Alice for the second remaining part of tonight's Longines FEI Challenge Cup here in Barcelona.
A superb start, 4 faults from Holly Smith, and then a clear we've just seen from Emily Moffitt. France, great start from Penelope Leprevaux, just the 1-time penalty. Then we had 8 faults from Gregory Cotard. Each of the teams with 2 remaining riders, but Switzerland have just had the 1. 8 faults from former world number 1 Steve Gerdat, with just 3 members in their team. His score has to count tonight. Italy on a 10 and a 12. Slightly opened the door, perhaps, for some of the other teams, because tonight is the decider for the relegation of 1 team from Europe Division 1 of the Longines FEI Nations Cup. Fabulous round for Great Britain. .78 seconds the time allowed, and that has played its part. Maria Vardalonga, a disappointing evening for her after such a super start yesterday. Norway with just 2 time penalties from Victoria Gulliksen and 13 from Maria Vardalonga. The situation, each of these nations still have 2 riders to come, and with the exception of Switzerland, they can still discard a score. So Great Britain, taking away Holly Smith's 4 faults, leaves them on a best possible score of 0 points. That's the number 1 spot. Italy struggling in 5th place at the moment. The evening absolutely beautiful. We're now seeing the shots of the arena below us, and the lit up area behind is the polo park. We're at the Real Club de Polo, and they take over the main polo field here and put on a huge festival which carries on all day and most of the night once the jumping has finished. But tonight it's perfect temperature. It's about 21 degrees out there, and Alice, Santiago Varela, he's done it again. He's a master designer, hasn't he?
He has, absolutely. One clear, 1-on-1 time penalty. The time has been influential, but it's equally very doable. We've had a real mix of faults so far, but no real disasters.
We want to just have a little chat about the crowds, because we're here in Barcelona, and a majority of these wonderful people that we're watching that enjoy the jumping will be Spanish and enjoy themselves, because Spain, whilst the European champion Switzerland was a surprise to find them jumping tonight, it was arguably an equal surprise to find Spain jumping in the top 8 tomorrow. That is a tremendous thing for the city of Barcelona and for the nation of Spain.
But comfortably in the top 8.
They were just 1 penalty point behind the winners last night, Germany. All 3 of those people jumped clear. They just had 1 time penalty. So the Spanish crowds are going to get very excited tomorrow night. But today it is about the Longines Challenge Cup and about not being relegated from Division 1 of the European League. And France, a super round from Penelope Let-Prevot with the one-time penalty, 2 down from Gregory Cotard. Little bit of pressure then on Marc Dilasser with Arioto Gegevra. Third rider for France, Marc Dilasser, Arioto Gegevra. Super surface. Here, horses bounce off it over these 1.60 metre fences. Time allowed, 78 seconds, if you've just joined us.
This combination picked up a time fault yesterday alongside 12 jumping penalties. Which really didn't represent their recent form and the round that they're capable of.
This is a very different round indeed for Marc Dilasser. Super down that line, Alice.
Brilliant. The horses really focused today. And Marc, on a man on a mission, really shortened up nicely.
Still clear. The Longines Oxer is clipped over the time, but that I don't think will matter. What matters is all the fences stayed. The kiss and cry area, they're happy. Marc Dilasser's happy. Just the one-time penalty for Marc Dilasser and Arioto Gegevra. France, well, 2 on one-time penalty, 1 on 8. And they have Mathieu Bilot to come, who replaces Olivier Robert from yesterday. All the nations can enter 5 riders for this competition, and then after the first day, if they want to replace a rider, have a change, they can do.
That's the kind of round we expected from this combination. They were double clear in the Nations Cup in Aachen just a couple of weeks ago. And that round much more representative of their capabilities.
Rider number 2 for Switzerland, Edwin Smits, 39 in the Longines rankings with Ferrezzo.
Edwin, actually Dutch-born, rode for the Netherlands originally before marrying his Swiss wife. And changing nationality.
Eight faults from their first of their 3 riders, Steve Godat, which they have to count. That sounded worse than it was.
Coming a bit of an angle to part A. Turns straightens up as he's jumping it, but he will be conscious of the time. Had 6 faults yesterday, 1 down and two time faults, so that will be on his mind. Just flattened a bit, trying to make those 6 strides is a forward distance. Bit of a way off that. Jumped it well. And another to just catch that rail, last part of the combination. The time fault as well.
And the time penalty is 81.7 to 81.23. Time allowed 78 seconds. So finishing on 9 penalties, Edwin Spitz from Forezzo. And of course, I incorrectly said Edwin was in 39th in the world rankings. I was actually talking about Brian Bulsinger, who is indeed the rider who is not coming forward for Switzerland tonight. So Switzerland with an 8 and a 9. So on 17 penalties, which they have to carry.
Just cramped a little behind, didn't quite get the height with his back legs. Catches that tall vertical.
For Italy, Antonio Maria Garofalo with Conquistador. Italy with 12 from first-line rider Pier Giorgio Bucci and 10 penalties from Fabio Brotto. Under a bit of pressure, Lucio Bartolucci should have to keep looking on, standing next to Pier Giorgio Bucci.
They'll definitely want to drop that score of 12. If they can do that, they would really put the pressure on Switzerland.
They would indeed. 5th place means relegation. 1st place means the Longines FEI Challenge Cup victory. Antonio Maria Garofalo, Conquistador for Italy.
A little bit low over that A element of the double.
Considering those planks were on a flat cup, that was, you don't often see them hit like that and stay, do you?
No. Big jump over the wall though. Oh, just didn't quite get the shot he wanted to the water. Nicely through the double. Just didn't quite make it up to the front bar of that Oxer. Just had to stretch a bit, flattened in doing so. Gotta really have to shorten up there. Yeah, seen that go a few times now.
A significant round for Italy with 17 penalties for Antonio Maria Garofalo and Conquistador, which means that Italy, if they can drop that 17, leaves them on a total of 26 he's got there. So that they still have Riccardo Pisani and Chaclot to come.
There's no question about that. Another big horse, though, just looking a little bit tired tonight.
Well, what do we say about this round of international jumping? 22-year-old Harry Charles, Romeo 88. Clear for Great Britain yesterday, which means a clear today, he would have a €50,000 bonus. It would have been split with anybody else that had gone clear, but he's the only rider in the competition tonight to have achieved a clear round yesterday. So the 50,000 is all Harry's if he goes clear. And Great Britain as a team in great spot at the moment, with a good round from Holly Smith on 4 faults and then a fabulous clear from Emily Moffitt.
Even a time fault would scupper his chances of taking that prize pot. So he's not just jumping for the team tonight, he's also jumping for himself. Keeping up a really nice forward rhythm. Time is not going to be an issue. Beautiful jump over the water. Really sits back to shorten him up. That tall vertical.
Sharp round the corner, conscious of the time.
Very forward into the combination. Really needs to shorten up here.
Clever getting out.
Does it very well.
This for €50,000. He jumps, he's over, he's clear. He's €50,000 richer. Harry Charles for Great Britain and Romeo 88 make it a double clear over the 2 days, and for Great Britain have posted 2 clears from their first 3-line riders tonight. That was a fantastic performance from a man, just a young man, 22 years old. The pressure on him, well, that was immense, Alice.
He just looked the whole way round like he knew he was going to jump clear. And actually, Ali spoke to him earlier and he said, well, you've just got to go in as if you've already jumped the clear. That is supreme confidence, belief in himself and the horse. And didn't it just show in that round? Dad Pete will be a happy man. Harry can have tea tonight. Earned his keep.
Absolutely superb round.
They're just building up such a strong partnership, Harry and Romeo. Been together for less than a year and looking like a real bright star for Britain.
And Harry Charles, along with Emily Moffitt and Holly Smith, have thrown Britain right into contention for the Challenge Cup tonight. For Norway, Johan Sebastian Gulliksen with Exit of Ice Z.
Just looked like she dived a little bit at that plank. It's 1.58 m. Going into a 1-stride double. A little bit casual at the water. I think it's okay.
It's okay. I can see the judge didn't even move.
Little hesitation on takeoff, but does well to sit up, put a bit of leg on and get her over the other side safely.
Wilrook got out and get up, he says, and he gets up and over, and that is 6 in total for Johan Sebastian Gulliksen, exit of ice for Norway. So in terms of the Europe Division 1 for the Longines FEI Nations Cup, the only deciding factor now is Switzerland's last line rider, silver medalist at the European Championships, Martin Fuchs, to jump, because Italy, we know, are on a best possible score of 26, Switzerland on 17, so as long as Martin Fuchs gets round in less than 9 faults, Switzerland will be safe and Italy won't be. France, great performances tonight. 2 jumping clears, just 1 time penalty apiece for Penelope Leprevaux and Marc Dilasser. And brought into the team, replacing Olivier Robert from yesterday, Mathieu Billot with Kel Filou 13.
Mathieu looking to better Gregory Cottard's score of 8. Oh. Took a real look at that. But Mathieu not got the advantage of having jumped round under these lights yesterday, being the substitution, and it just looked like Kelfili was just a little bit shocked by something. Huge striding horse, just cantered down to the water, taking a stride out, making it on 6 strides from the wall. I think he's going to call it a day.
Well, he can't improve the score for France, so Mathieu Billot and Kel Filou 13, they retire, and France complete their campaign in the Challenge Cup on 10 penalties. France on 10 penalties. So we come to the culmination of the Longines FEI Challenge Cup here, and Great Britain, what a change of fortune for them overnight, because they cannot be beaten in the rankings here in this competition so far. We can finish on a best score of 4 faults. Nobody can compete with that by my reckoning. So Great Britain have won the Longines FEI Challenge Cup here in Barcelona on day 2 of the 2021 Longines FEI Jumping Nations Cup final. The team of the 5 that finish in last place, relegated from Europe Division 1 next year, and now Martin Fuchs, individual silver medalist from the Europeans with Chaplin. contention for the Swiss because they're already on 17 faults. So whatever happens to the European silver medalist, there has to be added to that score. And the danger zone is with Italy, who are on a best possible score of 26. So there is some margin for Martin Fuchs. But in this sport, anything can happen.
As fourth leg rider yesterday, after they had a fence down, realised they couldn't improve on the team score. They retired, saving Chaplin for today's round. "14-year-old stallion by Verdi. Just really had to stretch that forward 6-stride distance, the Oxer. Just taking its toll there. Didn't quite make the stretch for the back bar. And the middle part of the combination going as well.
And he stops the clock inside that 80-second, sorry, there's 78 seconds the time allowed. And that, by one penalty point, secures Switzerland in Europe Division 1 next year. So that was right. That was a nail-biter, right to the line, because for Italy, best possible score of 26, irrespective of the round from their next competitor, Riccardo Pisani and Chaclot. So Switzerland can breathe a sigh of relief. Well, the European champions have had a different weekend this weekend compared to the one 4 weeks ago in Riesenbeck when they lifted the gold medals at the Euros. So it's Switzerland complete on 25. The last of the quartet for Italy. Riccardo Pisani with Chaclot. They jumped a double clear in one of the legs of the Nations Cup Euro Division 1. Didn't quite have the similar luck yesterday, or no, luck's not what I meant, but a bad luck. 2 fences down. We have just been told that John Whittaker for Great Britain will not be jumping. Great Britain have secured the Challenge Cup here in Barcelona, and so John Whittaker does not need to jump with Munich to Frankfurt, but so he will not jump. Great Britain, they're winners with just 3 riders. Now the 4th rider for Italy, Riccardo Pisani, Chaclot.
And the first fence has gone. Not the start he wanted at all. Chaclot just looking a little unsettled under these lights tonight and calling it a day.
Riccardo Pisani and Chaclot retire, leaving Italy on a final score of 43. Italy 43, and we'll move down to the EEF series for the next Nations Cup season.
Just see him catching that back bar. 2 fences down in the first 3 fences. Shacklock obviously not feeling himself. Saves him for another day.
Here comes Jimmy, the final rider of the Challenge Cup, the 4th rider for Norway, Geir Gulliksen, VDL Group Quattro. And Jimmy will be jumping around with delight that they have secured their position in Division 1 next year. He was extremely concerned about that after yesterday's competition. A clear from Geir Gulliksen would put Norway in 2nd place on 8 penalties. He jumped clear yesterday. He did have 2 time penalties, but it was a lovely round of jumping. Geir Gulliksen for Norway, VDL Group's Quattro.
Can he afford a time fault today, Phil?
He can afford 2. France are on 10. But that would level them up with France. They'd share. So it would be decided by time.
Oh, just didn't come in very straight there.
I suspect he will be pulling up now because he knows he can't get up into a meaningful position having had a fence down. So Jimmy Gulliksen, VDL Group's Quattro, retires with VDL Group's Quattro. He retires, and that leaves Norway on 21 penalties. So the Longines FEI Nations Cup, Challenge Cup has come to rather a sort of an abrupt end there, with a couple of retirements of my last 2 competitors and missing the 4th rider for Great Britain. But what a fantastic competition for Great Britain it has been. Great Britain win the Longines FEI Nations Cup, Challenge Cup with just the 4 penalties from 3 riders. Let's have a look and confirm the results now.
It was short but sweet, Phil. And
it was certainly sweet.
Sweet for Great Britain, and even sweeter for Harry Charles.
And there it is, Great Britain, clear winners of the Longines Challenge Cup. France in 2nd on 10 penalties, followed by Norway 21, Switzerland breathing a sigh of relief on 25, and Italy on 43. That's the result. 5 teams in the Longines Challenge Cup. Uzbekistan and Canada, who did take part last night, they withdrew from this competition, so left the 5 Division 1 teams to battle out the Longines Challenge Cup. And Great Britain showed a serious change of fortune. That'll put a smile on their face. And as you say, Alice, Harry Charles, 50,000 euros richer, as well as winning the Longines Challenge Cup. Well, that draws to a close of day 2 of the 2021 Longines FEI Jumping Nations Cup Final. Tomorrow we go to the big 1.25 million, the big final day, the top 8 teams. And that, of course, is at the local time here in Spain at 1500 hours, 3 p.m. So will not be under lights, will be under probably bright sunshine. Alice, how do you reflect on the course built by Santiago Varela?
it certainly sorted them out, Phil, didn't it? Had 2 brilliant clears from the young British riders, but it caused an awful lot of problems all the way round. So yet again, Santiago gets it just right. Time played its part as well.
Yes, the time, he's very, very clever with his course designing, because, you know, it's never a massive amount of time that they have to, that they've got to fight with. It's just a very, very fractional, you know, it might be a second or half a second.
Yeah. And often just pressures riders into riding a little bit quicker than they're comfortable with and making the odd mistake as a result. We've seen a few riders sacrifice the time, except I'll take a time fault. I want to jump round clear. As Jimmy Gullickson did yesterday, and it cost him a place in the final tomorrow.
He'll be absolutely delighted, though, to be, he was very concerned about staying in Division 1, which they have achieved brilliantly.
Yes. And deservedly so. Put in some brilliant performances over the Nations Cup series this summer.
So, conclusion of a wonderful evening here in Spain, especially if you've got a glass of Rioja in your hand. Cheers, madam. Let's have a look at some of the replays from the Longines FEI Challenge Cup.
Brilliant slow motion shots.
We had 2 or 3 in the water tonight, didn't we?
We did have a few.
Edwin Smits for Switzerland.
And the round of the evening, not just for what it achieved, but it was a really strong performance. Just never looked in any doubt. Really clean jumping. Harry just rode like there was no question of him not jumping clear. Johann Sebastian put in a good round for his team. And the substitution for the French team. Not quite Martin's week. This week, with a couple of fences down, but you can't win them all.
And Jimmy Gullickson was the last in the arena. He retired for Norway, but a good campaign over the last couple of days for Maria Vardalongem for Norway and the 3 Gullicksons, as in court, also for the other nations that have managed to secure their places in the First Division next year. But the story of the night is the brilliant performances for Great Britain. Just only needed 3 riders to secure the Challenge Cup and finished with just 1 fence down, 4 faults for them to take the Challenge Cup for Great Britain.
Yeah, huge relief for Britain first, but 3 really strong performances. Holly just having a bit of an unlucky fence in a really powerful round. She's really become a really founding member of the British team. So reliable. Always puts in a good score. Get the team underway.
You made an interesting point earlier. You know, this was a crunch moment for these teams, due to the way that the Nations Cup qualifiers are put together, and Division 1 is the place to be. And what you said, Alice, I was fascinated that by being in Division 1, it's not just about prestige. It's about being able to go to the top shows, because the Division 1 qualifiers are only they only take place at the very best shows in the world, and by being in there, it does open. It keeps those doors open for you. If you're not in that Division 1, you don't get the invitation.
Exactly, and the ranking points as well to get you into the higher rated shows where you can win the money and win more points to keep you up there. It really is a slippery slope. If you can't get access to these shows, for individuals as well as the teams. So mission accomplished on that front tonight for Great Britain.
Well, as they prepare the arena for the prize giving here on day 2 of the Longines FEI Jumping Nations Cup final. We're in Barcelona. We've been here many times before. In fact, the last 8 years, when the format was changed for this prestigious annual team competition, we've been here all 8. All 8 times here in Barcelona. Alice, let's just look forward now to what's happening tomorrow, because there's been some excellent performances tonight, in particular from Great Britain. And there is the team of, there's the courser, Santiago Varela, Olympic course designer, and the technical delegate, Louis Koenigs, also a course designer himself, sitting having a relaxing time, because the one thing that I've noticed over the years, that being a course designer, they can't relax that much, because there's a lot of pressure on them, Alice. You know, it's their reputation. Every time they build a course, you'll soon find out from the riders if they think it's a good course or not a good course or whatever. There's a lot of pressure on them, isn't there?
The importance of their job is so often overlooked. I think
I agree. I think it's completely
they are under so
underestimated.
Pressure. They want a certain percentage of clears. They don't want to cause any disasters. They don't, and they've got to look at the range of experience in the classes they've got without dumbing it down too much for the less experienced nations, but separate the top from the top whilst they're doing it. The time alloved's got to be achievable by some.
That's the Longines timepieces. Beautiful watches waiting to be handed to Great Britain. Well, along with the Longines timepiece, this man takes home quite a lot of cash. Let's watch Harry Charles from Great Britain, one of 2 clears for the winning nation here at the Challenge Cup.
What a career he's got ahead of him. His father, Peter, Olympic gold medalist from London. Harry has on his FEI biography still that his ambition is to compete at an Olympic Games, and aged 22 years old, he did just that last month.
And here they come in for the prize giving of the FEI Longines Nations Cup Jumping Challenge Cup.
accompanied there by fifth man Jack Whittaker, son of Michael, nephew of John.
The only team to take advantage of a fifth-line rider to swap them round was France, bringing in Mathieu Pelliot in place of Olivier Robert today. Chef to keep, Di Lampard. Herself must be very relieved to have this performance from her athletes. Great Britain, you've had a lean time in team events over the past few months, so this will really give them a fillip and some confidence. And let's face it, they didn't just win, they smashed it.
They really did.
As they come forward for the presentation. Just get into it, here again, ladies and gentlemen. A top-class team once again. And here they come forward, ladies and gentlemen. Up off the podium. Congratulations to our winners here tonight. The team from Great Britain.
Holly Smith, Emily Moffitt, Harry Charles, John Whittaker, Jack Whittaker, Di Lampard, chef to keep. That's Great Britain. They completed on 4 faults with just 3 rounds of jumping in the Challenge Cup. Unbelievable performance. When you look at the other teams competing tonight. Now, the national anthem of Great Britain. Great Britain, winners of the 2021 Longines FEI Nations Cup Challenge Cup. We reflect on the performances of all the teams. Great Britain winning on just 4 penalties with 3 riders. The closest team to them, France, on 10 penalties, and they ran all 4 members of their team. Domination for Great Britain in the Challenge Cup as we see the Longines timepieces. Longines timepieces being presented by Elena Orozco, brand manager for Longines Spain. Makes the ladies watch from the middle.
Vamos con el siguiente premio que vamos a entregar. Stefan Ellenbrook, miembro de la directiva de la Federación Internacional, responsable del Comité de Saltos, se dirige a
A wonderful change of fortune for Great Britain as Stefan Ellenbrook, the FEI board member and chair of the jumping committee, presents the trophies.
Moffitt, representan el futuro de la hípica de sus países. Y ahora vamos al también. Ahí está, con el vicepresidente de la Fundación de la Real de Barcelona y también presidente de este concurso nacional de Barcelona, felicitando.
Congratulations from Emilio Zegri, president of the Real Club de Polo, our hosts here in Barcelona once again. And what a tremendous host they are.
For this presentation as well. A picture with our full lineup here representing our sponsors, the Federation, of course, our organisers here, and the support of the foundation as well. A wonderful lineup as we see our winning team for the Longines Challenge Cup here tonight. Congratulations to each of them. Team for Great Britain, joined by Jack Westbrook, John Whittaker, it is Harry Charles, Emily Moffitt, Holly Smith, and of course, chef to keep Dial. Congratulations, Great Britain.
Alice, this will do the confidence the world of good. I mean, that, you know, with no disrespect to John, that the jumping team that jumped there, they're a young team.
Yeah.
And they jumped and handled it, perhaps a lot older than their years would suggest.
Yes. Future's looking pretty bright.
Fantastic lineup for them and wonderful result for Great Britain. As they rematch, get ready for lap of honour.
Bueno, habéis visto que los jinetes han bajado al podio, están entregando ahí sus relojes, sus bandejas, y empiezan a subir a caballo. Cuando estén todos listos, podemos empezar ya el honor a preparar esta challenge del Internacional Oficial de Barcelona 2021.
Absolutely wonderful. I'm just sitting here absorbing the wonderful atmosphere and the feeling that Great Britain will be having after a bit of a lean period.
We should just give a mention, Phil, to those girls holding the horses, the grooms that work so hard and make all this possible for the horses and the riders.
Huge congratulations to Great Britain. Holly Smith, Emily Moffitt, Harry Charles, John Whittaker, Jack Whittaker and Di Lampard, victorious in the 2021 Longines FEI Nations Cup Challenge Cup. Well, it's been a tremendous evening here in Barcelona. Tomorrow's the big final: Belgium, Germany, Ireland, Spain, Brazil, Netherlands, Sweden and the USA. Battle for 1.25 million euros. That's at 1500 hours here in Barcelona. Tonight, it's about Great Britain. Tonight, it's about the Longines Challenge Cup. And many congratulations to Harry Charles for the €50,000 bonus. Alice, it's been a fabulous evening.
It has. With a brilliant finish.
A great finish. To be honest, Great Britain made it look like a walk in the park. Great performance. Well, from us here in the commentary point on the edge of the wonderful arena here at the Real Club de Polo Barcelona, from me, Phil Gazala, it's good night. Enjoy your day or your evening wherever you are, and we'll be right back tomorrow with the 2021 Longines FEI Jumping Nations Cup final.
And it's good night from me as well. Thank you for joining us this evening.
Be back tomorrow. Bye-bye.
See you tomorrow.
Un bonito proyecto de más partícipe Longines con una actuación internacional. Recuerden que tenemos a Santi Serra,
There, the conclusion of the Longines FEI Jumping Nations Cup final, the Challenge Cup here tonight. Of course, tomorrow we're back with the full team final of the top 8 teams that we saw from Friday as well. But a great result for Great Britain. We put the great back into it there, Jessica.
And most definitely, that was more than great this evening. Stunning performances from the youngest members of the team, and really seeing how they're gaining so much confidence with their horses at this level. Fantastic. Absolutely. Well, a great result for Great Britain, as we say. But, I mean, John Whittaker didn't even have to jump there. We've got the legendary John Whittaker in the sidelines. But, as you say, it was youth that also came out there. Emily Moffitt and Harry Charles, 2 clears from there. Brilliant performance. We'll reflect on that in just a few moments' time. But that's where the future's got to come from. Most definitely. And it's really paid off. Di Lampard is invested in her young riders this season. She's had a rocky road through the summer, but they've gained experience. And you can really see how today, because today there was a lot at stake for Harry Charles. There was this extra bonus of 50,000 if he jumped the only double clear in the Challenge Cup. That was at stake. Obviously, this whole thing of the relegation from the Super League, one team was going to drop out, and you could really see that the fight not to be last was really pushing a lot of teams to be very, very strong here. Well, absolutely, and it was France that took them closest to the wire. So with the French, let's reflect on that as well. We had one time fault from Penelope Leprovo, Gregory Cotard having the 8 there, and Marc Dilasser, a one-time fault from him as well was a good performance. I have to say the round from Mark I found was very, very good. He was so determined. You could see that he's had a good bit of experience now on the team, and he really took the situation and said, I need to produce the goods. And Should we have a look at it? Yeah, why not? Marc Dilasser, of course, for France. Here we go. And this double was very, very tricky, and you can really see Mark riding with great confidence. Of course, in Aachen, he was also wonderful a couple of weeks ago with this horse, and Arioto has really, really turned up the level, and this was a difficult line, and you can see how he really sets him up and then pushes for the 7 and just balancing for the 6. This was a difficult line, and Marc rode that extremely well.
Well, we could definitely see by the expression of what was involved going down to the water there. Your overall thoughts on how that rode here tonight in terms of the course and what Santi said?
Well, again, a difficult job to build the course for this competition because, not being rude, these were the losers from yesterday.
Yeah.
They were the losers. These were the teams that didn't make the cut of the 8. And I prefer to be a little bit more blunt. And of course, out of being a loser, it does, you know, a lot of top athletes, it does motivate them to really, really fight. So Santi did build a difficult track. Again, a delicate track. It's a little bit more technical than yesterday. And I found that his line to the water was really quite difficult because they jumped the Longines wall and then they had to really wait. Yesterday, they had to move up to the water, and today they really had to wait. And then having this skinny oxer dragged them that little bit forward. So again, it was good building. Then he opened them up again, and then at the end boxed them in the triple. It was a super building.
Absolutely. Well, for them, it was not to be. They finished in second. And, of course, we're going to take a look at it in a few moments' time, but I think they're about to join us in the studio, so we might hold on to it as well. Harry Charles, as you say, man of the moment there, but Emily Moffitt's brilliant round there for Great Britain. And, you know, the Swiss just managed to keep themselves in the game there as well, but they had a tough task with 3 riders.
Yeah, well, I'm very happy for my neighbours that they haven't had to drop out of the league. They had a very, very difficult job today, and I do think that they actually held it together really well. They didn't have the form. Things weren't going their way. They did fight. Yes, they had mistakes, but fair play to them for, out of a lot of negatives that happened this weekend, really trying to keep it together.
We got the positives out of it in the end. That's the main thing. Well, let's go and be positive because we're going to welcome into the studio. They're just making their way in, and it is going to be Emily Moffitt and Harry Charles joining us as part of the winning team here for Great Britain here in the Challenge Cup. And congratulations to you guys. Jess is just getting, of course, the usual dressmaking done as well, just to make sure you look right. There we go. Well done, both of you. And let's come to Emily first. A beam across your face there. Brilliant clear for Britain. Talk us through that, of course, again with the fabulous winning good.
Winnie, I mean, I just have no words for him. He's spectacular, and he wants to jump clear, and he loves it. Everything about it he absolutely loves, and I'm so privileged to be able to ride him.
Well, done a great job once again. Oh, you didn't even have to send John Whittaker out.
No, that was, we were all teasing him. We said, hey, well done, John. He was like, I love this.
One of the easiest wins of his career. I know, Harry, you've got Dad out there on the sidelines. Peter, of course, Olympic gold medalist himself. But, I mean, you, fantastic performance there. You've also picked up €50,000 as the double clear. I'm sure Dad's kept track of that.
Well, that's a nice day. Having that as a little bonus as well really helps. And, yeah. What a day, what a day.
Let's take a little look at Harry Charles' round as well and get him to have a little look at this as well with Jessica, because a good performance, as we talked about the youth on the team. But Harry, let's take a look at how you performed here. Talk us through this yourself.
So I think, starting on the blue oxer there, that 6 was quite short. I watched I watched Holly and our team go 5. But I know my horse has got a medium to small size stride, so the 6 for me was fine. And I saw the time was very tight. I knew in my head I wanted to be inside it, so I kept it a bit tight, that combination, and just came on the 6 to the last, and it came up really nice, and I was comfortably inside, I think, at the time.
Well, a good performance. Emily, for you, you're on the European Championship team here this year as well. Has this helped you through that, now getting that experience through this tail end of this year?
Yes, definitely. I actually have mentioned a few times going into the Europeans, I really had no idea what to expect. I didn't know the format, and it certainly was a different amount of pressure. And I definitely felt I left with a lot more knowledge than I went with. And, you know, I felt pretty confident and comfortable coming here, and I knew I had a great team behind me, and, you know, it's been great.
Well, talking about people in your corner, you've got the Olympic champion Ben Mayer in your corner as well, haven't you?
That certainly helps.
Any advice from him when you were coming in?
You know, I think yesterday I was a bit underpaced, and I was, you know, not riding as confident as I normally would. We had a bit of a blip in the warm-up, and I think we all know that sometimes that can knock our confidence going into the ring. And he just said, you've got this, you know, you've done this a million times, go and do what you do best. And, you know, we did, and I'm really happy.
Absolutely, well done. Jessica, you're smiling down there, but this is, you're looking at the future next generation coming through. Absolutely, and I mean, I've been following these two for quite a while. I can even remember the day when Pete Charles said to me, I'm a wee lad, he's doing great in ponies. He's certainly,
he's certainly moved on from that now. But it's really great credit to, I say great credit to Di Lampard. She's the head of the team, to give these guys the chance, to let them go, get their experience at championship level, and to keep supporting them. You know, in the past, there's been situations where chef d'equipes have taken young riders on the team. If they didn't perform and produce the clear round, or were a bit nervous or didn't give what they wanted, then it was straight away, oh, they're not good enough, we'll leave them at home. But Di is stuck behind, giving everybody the chance. Harry came out of the Olympics a stronger man. Of course, he's still getting to know Romeo. Now I have the feeling that there's a great partnership. And Emily, like she just said, with the Europeans now looking super with Winnie. So this is the way to go forwards with our young riders of the future.
Harry, next year, I'm sure you'll be into Sunday.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Coming in for the big one. Harry, for you, again, building here, I mean, it's been a very quick rise for you as well. What age are you now, and how's it been?
I'm 22 now, and yeah, it's been a whirlwind of a year, really. I only got Romeo at the start of the year, and we built a partnership fairly quick, and got to go to an Olympic Games as my first championship. I mean, I'd never had an experience like it. It was incredible being around, you know, the people I was around, and I came, like Jess said, out of it a stronger man. I think it's hopefully a stronger rider as well. So coming here and going double clear was, yeah, icing on the cake of an amazing year.
You did it a little bit in reverse, but you're still definitely going up from that point of view. Harry, how was it for you pressure-wise out there? How are you feeling about that now? Are you still got some of the youth about you that says, it's all right, I've got this?
Yeah, I was third rider, so I knew we had John behind us as well. So, and I wasn't actually paying too much attention to what the other guy, not my guys, but the other countries and teams were doing. So I wasn't too aware. I knew a clear round would be very good. So I had tunnel vision really today when I of course I wanted nothing other than a clear round. So that was it.
Emily, this is going to be a teammate for a while, I think.
Yes, we are stuck together.
Lucky you.
Well, congratulations, both of you. It's good to see the British squad's in safe hands for the upcoming term. But, you know, you can send John Whittaker still out again once or twice.
Definitely.
Yeah. John's in the locker room.
Once a legend, always a legend.
Exactly. Total legend. Well, you're making your own stories now. Congratulations, both of you, to Harry and to Emily, of course, to the other members of the team as well, to Holly Smith. And, of course, it's been a two-day competition, too. John Whittaker was in there yesterday as well. We're going to let you escape because you've got lots of other things to do, got press conferences, etc. But well done to Team Great Britain.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good stuff. Jessica, well, let's just sum up what a great job they've done. They're going to head off and they're going to leave me the British flag, I think. There we go. It's all right. She's got it. Jessica, superb performance. Day one in terms of finals out of the way. Tomorrow, we come back tomorrow afternoon, 3 o'clock local time with that Longines FEI Nations Cup final. A lot to look forward to there. Germany potentially in the driving seat.
Yes, most definitely. I think tomorrow we really get down to the meaty stuff. The Germans looking with their 2 time faults, looking very, very strong. I think they are the team, when you listen to some of the interviews today, they are the team that the others have respect for. But I do think the Spanish, I mean, we spoke about the Spanish, they're as strong as anybody in there. Those horses are looking fresh. They're jumping really good. The guys are super motivated. And we've seen this on so many occasions when you're jumping in front of your home crowd. It's that extra little lift, just something special there. So we have to watch out for them.
Looking out for all of that. You and I are going to be in the studio from 20 past 2 tomorrow afternoon, so come and join us for that. We will be here and taking you in the run-up to tomorrow's Longines FEI Nations Cup final. Make sure you join us, and of course all that action will come to you from FEI.tv as well. From all of us here in Barcelona, we wish you a very, very good night and look forward to seeing you tomorrow afternoon. More from here in Spain. See you then.